the great house at Collinwood in the present time. Only Barnabas Collins and Julia Hoffman are aware that Collinwood is going to suffer a major disaster, the nature of which is not known even to them. Barnabas and Julia have 6 clues to go on. One of these concerns a mysterious place called Rose Cottage. Thus far, no one they have talked to has any idea what or where Rose Cottage is. On this night, the 2 people who are in the greatest danger of all, the children, will find out.
David,
Why are you here?
I had this dream.
About Rose Cottage
How did you know?
and a party
A birthday party with place cards.
and Daphne's face at the window.
David, how could we have the same dream?
I don't know. And why are we both here now? We have to go in there.
I know. David, we were in that doll's house. We were in there in the dream. David, what does it all mean?
I don't know. This wasn't here before. How did it get here?
The same way the model ship got from your room to the drawing room.
But we don't even know how that happened.
I wish I could understand how we could have the same exact dream.
I don't know. It's pretty scary, isn't it?
David, you know what this house is, don't you?
Yes. This is the place that Dr. Hoffman and Barnabas are asking everybody about.
Rose Cottage.
It doesn't look like a cottage. It's too big. It looks more like a mansion.
David, I'm so scared. What are we gonna do?
I don't know. What's frightening me is the feeling I have.
What feeling?
It's the same feeling I had in the dream. Remember when we walked towards the table with those dolls? I felt like I belonged there.
Yes, I know. I felt the same way.
And now I have the feeling that whatever's happening to us, we'll never understand. And even if we want to tell somebody, we won't be able to.
And I have the feeling that it's too late anyway. David, are you down here?
Hallie,
Oh, Uncle Elliot, I didn't know you were here.
I'm waiting to see Julia Hoffman. Come in, Hallie. I want to talk to you for a moment.
About what?
About your stay here at Collinwood, among other things.
I don't understand.
Has something made you unhappy here?
No. Why should anything make me unhappy?
I have no idea.
Well, then why did you even ask?
I was concerned about you when you came to visit me the other day. You didn't seem yourself.
In what way?
You seemed rather dispirited, more reticent than usual.
That's funny. I didn't feel different. I wonder what made you feel that way.
Hallie, you know I'm very fond of you, don't you?
Of course, Uncle Elliot.
And you know you can trust me.
Yes.
And if you had a scare, you'd tell me about it, wouldn't you?
What do you mean, a scare?
I mean, if anything were to frighten you.
Well, nothing has happened, and nothing's going to.
I didn't mean to upset you, Hallie.
I don't understand why the adults in this house are acting so weird. They're afraid something is going to happen, but they don't know what the something is. It all started when Julia and Barnabas came back.
Hallie.
I think they're trying to frighten us.
That isn't true.
I tell you, nothing is going to happen. Mrs. Stoddard said so. She knows everything is going to be all right from the horoscope Sebastian gave her.
Yes. Sebastian. You run along now, Hallie, and try to find David. I think I should pay a call on Mr. Sebastian Shaw.
So sick. All that did was make him more suspicious.
I'm sorry, David. I couldn't help it.
What did he ask you?
Well, nothing really. Just has anything happened and things like that.
Does he know anything or not?
I couldn't tell, David.
We don't know anything either. Maybe we should have a look at Aunt Elizabeth's horoscope.
What for?
I don't know. Maybe it'll tell us what's going to happen next.
I don't know anything about horoscopes.
Well, neither do I, but I'm going to try.
David, if the adults haven't seen anything we've seen, then why do they think that something's going to happen? I mean, if they have nothing to go on.
Do you think they just feel something?
I don't know. But I do feel that something is going to happen. And I know it's going to be something terrible.
Professor Stokes.
Yes.
Yes, please come in. I'm Sebastian Shaw.
I am honored, Mr. Shaw.
On the contrary, I am honored, sir. I've took the trouble to do some research on you, and I find your background very impressive, and your interest in the occult most fascinating.
You are also interested in the occult?
Oh, yes, very definitely. Yes, but let's discuss that at another time. Please, sit down, Professor. I understand you want to discuss Mrs. Stoddard's horoscope?
Yes, I understand you prepared it in great detail for the remainder of the year 1970.
Yes, that's correct.
And according to your observations, you could find nothing to indicate that there would be a disaster of any kind at Collinwood in that time.
As far as Mrs. Stoddard was concerned, no.
You are aware that there are those who disagree with you.
Oh, yes, I am aware that Mrs. Stoddard harbored certain fears when she first came to see me. I believe they concerned the two children at Collinwood.
That's correct. But you managed to convince her that those fears were groundless. Mr. Shaw, are you absolutely certain that your projections are correct?
Well, no one can be absolutely certain of anything, Professor. I think that I made the best interpretations of the signs I could. But you must remember that Mrs. Stoddard is not under any obligation to live her life according to my projections. She may live any way she wants.
How much did you charge her for her horoscope?
Oh, there is no charge for my services.
Oh, you are independently wealthy, Mr. Shaw.
No, of course not. No, my clients are told to give me whatever they feel my services are worth.
And what did Mrs. Stoddard feel your services were worth?
suggest you ask her that, Professor.
Permit me to ask you one more question, Mr. Shaw. When and how did you acquire this ability of yours?
I do like a man who's direct, Professor. But why don't we just skip my background for the moment and get right to the point? The fact is, you think I'm a charlatan, don't you?
To be quite frank, I don't know. But I am concerned about your influence over Mrs. Stoddard.
Well, let me put your mind at rest. I'm quite honest. I'm quite legitimate. As a matter of fact, I'm something more than just an astrologer, Professor.
What do you mean by that, Mr. Shaw?
I'm a clairvoyant. I have the ability to see into the future.
Clairvoyance is a rare talent.
I beg to disagree, Professor. We're all capable of it. It is just a rarely developed talent.
Well, you've ventured into my province now, Mr. Shaw. But I'm sure you're far too intelligent not to be able to back it up. I'd like to see a demonstration of your gift.
Nothing would give me greater pleasure than converting a skeptic, Professor. Tell me, who exactly are the two children at Collinwood?
The boy is David Collins. The girl is my niece, Hallie.
And are you prepared to believe that I have never laid eyes on either of them before in my life?
That statement is too easy for me to verify, so I'll take your word for it.
Very well. I see a room at Collinwood. It's not clear. It's a drawing room, I think. It's sometime in the future. When, I cannot be sure. I see the two children. And they are...
What is it, Mr. Shaw? Has something happened to the children?
No. Nothing. The two children have just been to a party. And they appear to be asleep. And I can see the girl. Her hair is long and fair. And she's wearing a golden crown of curls on her head. And she's wearing a bright pink party dress with long puff sleeves and a wide collar and white buttons down the front. And just for good measure, Professor, both her ears are pierced, and she is wearing gold posts in each of them.
Impressive. Most impressive.
But not convincing, Professor.
I'd prefer to reserve judgment for the time being, if you don't mind. But it's been most interesting to meet you, Mr. Shaw.
Just one question, Professor. Was Mrs. Stoddard aware of your coming here tonight?
No, sir. She was not.
Just as I thought. Good night, Professor.
Good night, Mr. Shaw.
You have such a good mind, Sebastian. It's a shame you don't always use it well.
I take it you were listening as usual.
I heard every word. I think you revealed too much of yourself.
I beg to disagree. I think you are wrong.
Professor, nothing gives me greater pleasure than to convert a skeptic. It wasn't necessary to go that far, Sebastian. Your psychic powers are too valuable to us. It's dangerous to reveal them to someone like him.
I didn't see what harm it did. Professor Stokes just looks after Mrs. Stoddard's interests, and with you and I around, I think her interests do need a little looking after, don't they?
She's one of the richest women you've ever had for a client. She's just willing to pay very well for your services now.
Just don't want to discuss it.
Very well. We won't discuss it. But we also won't do anything to lose Mrs. Stoddard as a client. Will we, Sebastian? By the way, what did you see in your vision? Was it really the children?
Yes. It was really the children. Except they weren't asleep. They were dead.
David, I don't think we should have come in here again.
Something terrible is going to happen. I feel that we have to do something to prevent it.
But what?
I don't know. Do you remember those 2 dolls from the dream?
Yes.
The names in front of them were ours. I think that means they were supposed to represent us.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I think somebody's using them to put a spell on us. I don't know who, but I bet if we take the dolls from Rose Cottage and destroy them, the spell will be lifted.
Do you really think it will?
I can't think of anything else to do. And we have to do something.
Going somewhere?
Stop.
Out where, Sebastian?
For a walk.
You're not accustomed to taking walks at night. I'll tell you where you're going. Your conscience has been troubling you all day about those children at Collinwood. And you decided to do something about it.
Something should be done. Someone should be told.
Like Mrs. Stoddard.
Yes.
Oh, you'd better think this out carefully, Sebastian. Mrs. Stoddard is very important to us.
These children are in great danger.
Sometime in the future, it may be months from now.
Maybe tomorrow.
Oh, you know that's not likely. There would have been some sign by now. There's no reason to go hurrying off into something. Certainly no reason to jeopardize our position with Mrs. Stoddard. You do agree with me, don't you, Sebastian?
Done the right thing, David.
They're burning. They're burning.
I know.
We have done the right thing. I can feel it.
Yes, I can feel it too. I feel free.
And now we have to go upstairs to the West Wing.
Why?
Because if we have done the right thing, the spirits no longer control us.
That's
And the
right.
playroom shouldn't be there.
Go ahead, David.
Please be the closet. Please.